Obviously, Alexander Isak has travelled, but where's he at in terms of the level of the role that he can play tomorrow night?
Finished close to a week of team training sessions now, so he can play a part. Otherwise, I wouldn't take him. I decided not to take him to the Etihad because we felt in talks with the player medical performance staff that he wasn't able to get a performance out of him yet. And since he's with us now, we do think that we can get a performance out of him now, but not to start. That'd be clear.
Obviously, we saw you start well at the weekend, but after the first goal was conceded, things got away relatively quickly. After the game, Virgil then criticised some of the effort in the latter stages of the game as well. What impact do words like that from your captain have on the dressing room, and how have you had to maybe pull things together since the weekend?
Yeah. Sometimes in a game of football, you want to do things in a certain way, but you're not able to for various reasons. But one of them can definitely be conceding goals when you think you are playing well and you think you're in the game. And usually in football, moments that hurt you most is just before halftime and just after halftime. So you go in at halftime over large spells of the game, feeling you went toe-to-toe with City, but then you're 2-0 down. And then immediately after halftime, you concede to 3-0. Then I saw, indeed, 5 minutes in between. We got 2 big chances from Mo, by the way, but where it was too open and, players were struggling. The good thing for us was that after the 4-0, City seemed to be okay with the 4-0, and we had the ball and had constant ball possession. We're not able to create that much anymore. But I didn't see players giving up in that part of the game. But I think it's also good from a captain that he has a strong and firm reaction after a game like that. And hopefully it's not only immediately after the game, but we can as a team show a strong and firm reaction tomorrow evening.
So what do you see in your players that gives you the belief that they can react to that, and not just react to that, but also maybe still rescue the season in this very competition?
Yeah, well, that's a very simple answer. The first 35 minutes. Because it's not the first setback we've had losing 4-0. It's not the first time that there's 10 to 15 minutes or 20 minutes of a game where we don't play our best football and we immediately get punished by goal. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2. In this situation, there were 4. The only 4 chances we gave away in the game, by the way. But the first 35 minutes gives me a lot of confidence that we're able to go toe-to-toe against a team that, combined with Paris Saint-Germain, is for me one of the best or the best 2 teams in open play. The hardest teams to play against in open play, I have to say it like that, because of their quality, because of the way they are managed. And we were able to do it very well for 35 minutes. But I can tell you, if we have the 20 minutes we had at City, if we have them tomorrow evening here, we will again concede 4 goals. Because these players over here know how to act if we are having 20 minutes of that. So it's a challenge for us to be from the first till the last second at the level we were in the first 45 minutes. If not, it's going to be a really hard night again, like it was last year, where we completely deserved to lose 4-0 over here, or maybe more. But that's the beauty of football. In the 85th minute, we scored a goal where I was almost like, wow, this was robbery.
Ian Dennis from the BBC. For a manager under scrutiny, after the comments from Virgil van Dijk at the weekend, what would you say the mood is for the players? Do you say something to the players, or do you let them sort of like police that themselves in the dressing room?
No, of course we talk to the players in meetings, but also individually. But I think it makes complete sense and it's completely normal. The feeling Virgil shared after the game, and that is the feeling every player had, and not only every player, every staff member and every fan or supporter of Liverpool as well. So everyone involved in Liverpool Football Club was disappointed after that result. And that takes, of course, 1 or 2 days before you can look forward, look ahead towards the next game. But before you do that, you first address what we have to improve. And that's quite obvious. I think everyone can see that. If you only look at those 20 minutes, we can see a lot of things that we can improve. And we cannot compare Paris Saint-Germain with City completely because when we had the controlled ball possession in the first 35 minutes, that also had to do with City staying more positional, not going so aggressive towards us, where Paris Saint-Germain has showed in the last seasons when Luis Enrique is here that they do not give you any second of time to have the ball comfortable on your feet. It's press every second of the game.
And how do you harness that negativity to turn it into something positive ahead of this game?
No, the good thing is that during this year we've become quite experienced in terms of negativity because of all the setbacks we've had this season, and this was a big one because it was the quarter-final, because it was a big loss, because it was against our rivals. But for me, it felt just as bad when we were, I think it was 3-2 up at Leeds, and we conceded an extra time when we were going 2-1 up or 3-2 up against Fulham, and we conceded an extra time. I didn't forget, but I cannot. If I start to name up all the setbacks we had this season, then I see a few other people want to ask questions. Then that's probably not possible.
Thank you.
Hi, Arne. Ziga Sport Netherlands. Last year, when you left the Champions League against Paris Saint-Germain, there was still so much to play for in the Premier League as well. This season, it's different. So, how different does it feel for you? How big is the pressure to perform in this Champions League, considering that the rest didn't plan out the way you hoped it would be?
Yeah, you're right. We were in the League Cup still after we lost against the Paris Saint-Germain, and 3 days later we lost the final. I think if you play a quarter-final, doesn't matter that much where you are in the season. If you're still in the FA Cup, League Cup, or where you are in your domestic league, it's always a special moment. We can never take a quarter-final of the Champions League for granted, let alone if you face the champions of Europe that fully deserved to win the Champions League last season and again this season are doing very, very, very well. So I don't look at that much of where we are in the season. I just look at it as a challenge on itself. And a nice one because in football it's sometimes also nice to get a second chance. In life, in general, it's nice to get a second chance. And as I said, City and Paris Saint-Germain are quite comparable. Not only because they have owners from the same area, but also because of the quality they are having and the style of play they want to have, or they have. So it's another chance for us to show that we are not the team that we were 20 minutes that we prefer to forget in the Etihad, but we were the team in the first 35 minutes. Thank you.
Bonjour, possible en français? Merci.
Where is it? This one.
Bonjour coach, un petit peu plus tôt dans la journée, Luis Enrique a dit qu'il n'y avait pas vraiment d'équipe favorite, que c'était pas important, que Liverpool et Paris étaient deux équipes très proches. Est-ce que selon vous, il y a un écart entre Paris et Liverpool? Et si oui, quelle équipe est plus en avance dans son jeu, dans sa façon de faire? Merci.
In general, I don't think it matters that much if there's a favorite, yes or no, because it's only about 2 games and a lot can happen in 2 games. I think both teams have very good players. Both teams were able to show last season to go toe-to-toe. By the way, we deserved to lose here last season 4-0 completely, much more than we deserved to lose on Saturday 4-0. But that game, it was only thanks to Alisson that we didn't lose 4-0 and then we got away with a 1-0 win. At Anfield, for me, it wasn't completely the opposite. It wasn't as if we deserved to win that game with 4-0, but for me, we deserved to win that game. But the big difference between these 2 teams is that Paris Saint-Germain kept the whole group together. I don't think they added anyone, did they? They didn't buy anyone, did they? Oh, they did? Oh yeah, but he's not, I don't expect him to start tomorrow. And I think our team will look not completely, but will look quite different to the team that was here last season.
Thank you, Coach. Juan Correga for Fox Mexico. Last year, after that tie, it was like a boost for PSG to end up winning the UEFA Champions League. After a difficult season for you, do you imagine a similar scenario for your team after this tie against them?
Well, I don't think so far ahead, especially not if you face Paris Saint-Germain. So, like I said, the Champions of Europe, fully deserved this season, kept the team together. As it proves out in football, usually the longer teams play together, the better they even become. If that was even possible, because they were so impressive last season. But I watched quite a lot of games of them, and they're just as impressive, maybe even more impressive this season. There's even more rotations, and they are still a very good team. But as it is in football, details can decide a lot, because who takes penalties best? That is what made the difference last season for Paris Saint-Germain, to beat us and then go all the way to win the final. And usually a team needs to win a penalty shootout. It's the same in the World Cup or in the Champions League. You usually might need one time to win a penalty shootout. And as much as I want to believe that there's no luck involved in a penalty shootout, because you can train it, you can prepare it, you can do a lot of things for it. Sometimes maybe this has to do also a little bit with luck with the goalkeeper, because Donnarumma was great in that shootout. And a week ago, I think I was like, okay, Italy will probably win this shootout, because I had nightmares of him saving all these penalties from us. But now he wasn't able. So that is sometimes also football. But I'm not looking so far ahead. It's first this task tomorrow evening. And then on Saturday, there's a big game in our stadium against Fulham. And then the next one against Paris Saint-Germain. And for the ones who don't know, then there's another big game. Playing away from home, I think, Tony, is it? Yeah. That's also a big game.
We have a lot of hands. We have time for three more, so we've got one there, then one in the middle, and then last one here.
Hi, Coach. Yes, Peter from 90 Minutes. From France, we've seen that you talked a lot about this PSG game last season and even this season. Can you explain to us the impact these two games against PSG last season have had on you and your team? And in the second time, do you think PSG is a better team right now than they were last season when you faced them?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I spoke that much about it, but maybe more than I spoke about several other games. And then immediately stands out speaking more about that game. The reason why I come back to that game a lot is because, especially at Anfield, I liked it because we played a little bit better than over here. But in both games, it was all about football. And this season, I've seen so many times that certain tactics are used that are not, you cannot do anything about. I'm talking about time wasting or all kind of other things in football, and that was not the case in both legs that we played Paris Saint-Germain. It was just going toe to toe and try to win it in the team that was best over two legs. Are they even better now? I just said that already. It's almost impossible to be better than the team they were last season, because they were already that good last season. But as I just said, almost every team, maybe every team, gets better the longer they play together. And I think Paris Saint-Germain is also an example of that. But it's only if you are... So in the 100-meter sprint, if you run 9.8, you cannot go to 8.6. You can maybe go to 9.75. And these are the margins we are talking about in Paris Saint-Germain. We're on a different stage now, because we made a big transition in the summer, but we are trying to go to that 9.8 again, and hopefully even to 9.75 if I keep that example.
Good evening, Coach. Public Harrison Fast by the Armenian. Given how important Alisson Becker was in the last year's win over PSG, do you expect Mamardashvili to have a similar impact, or will things be different this time? Thank you.
We prepare the game, and if the game goes as I hope it goes, we don't need our goalkeeper. But the question is that's realistic, because I think Paris Saint-Germain scored in all of their home games except for one, if I'm informed correctly. So usually, if you go against a team that's so offensive as Paris Saint-Germain is, with the quality they are having, then usually you need a good goalkeeper that day. So, but for 35 minutes at the Etihad, I thought we didn't need a goalkeeper. And then 20 minutes later, I was hoping that my goalkeeper would save a few, but fortunately they didn't get a chance anymore in the last half hour.
Awesome. How do you see a way out of the recent results? Because obviously there's criticism of you, there's now criticism of the players that they're not trying enough in games. There's going to be a protest on Saturday against another part of the club. A year ago, you were coming up to winning the title, and the change in mood around the club's just totally different. How do you see a way out of where you are now? Because obviously the performances and results have been inconsistent for so long now.
Yeah, I cannot debate that. That's completely true, that performance and results have been very inconsistent throughout the whole season. I think the answer lies in the history of Liverpool. This club has always shown that in tough moments they stand up again. And I think we've had a lot of tough moments and we've stood up a few times, but then fallen down again. And now we have to show that mentality again of just keep going and picking yourself up after disappointment, because this club has shown also many times that we can do very special things in difficult circumstances. And especially if we can bring this game to Anfield, as we saw last season, as we've seen so many times. A recent example was the Galatasaray games where we didn't have the best game away at Galatasaray. And we showed it, we played it, probably the best game of the season at home against Galatasaray. So the answer is already in the history of Liverpool, but it's easier said than done. Because we've shown far too many times this season that we have phases in the game, like the 20 minutes we had at the Etihad. Usually it's only 5 to 10. That's why we usually only concede one as a maximum of 2 goals. But 20 minutes, that means 4 goals conceded. So yeah, like I said, easier said than done. But this group has shown many times to come back after setbacks. And this club has even done it many more times. So there is where we, apart from the quality my team has, by the way, Paris Saint-Germain has a bit of quality as well. But my team have shown many times in big games, with the exception of twice at the Etihad, that we are able to compete with the best teams in Europe. And now it's up to us to show the team that we've been, and I can name up Real Madrid, these games. Yeah.
Thank you.